Yo, Mr. Clado, nice to see you. Hey, everyone. So let's see where I can see how many participants are here. Can whoever is here, please say who you are in the chat, because I don't see actually who's here. I just see the amount of people. So I kind of want to know who's here and what type of musician you are and maybe where you're located. How's everyone doing today? Hopefully good. Hopefully you're staying indoors. There you go. Let's see. I'm going to see if this is working. Do you guys see me? Can someone reply to the chat if you see me, if everything is going okay? I am located. Yes, we can see you. I wonder why. Let's see. We'll give it a few minutes. Hopefully some more people will come. I've got a few questions. There you go. People are coming in. So we'll give it a few minutes for people to enter. Mr. Clado, how are you doing? In San Diego, right? And all right, I'm going to try to open this in YouTube as well. Let's see before we get started. Just give me a few minutes, guys. Let's see. There you go. All right, people are coming in. Great. A little bit slow, but that's okay. All right. Yeah, it's horrible. I'm in Spain right now, and it's just, I mean, even though the numbers are decreasing, thankfully, after 3 weeks of not being able to leave my apartment, which is getting very intense with the 8-year-old. So it's good to see that it's declining, but only way to comment is you are logged into YouTube. Oh, got it, got it. Log into YouTube, guys. People have a Gmail. Come on. All right, so should we get started? I'll give it a few more minutes. And what we're going to talk about is Instagram today. And I'm very excited because I'm also launching a program that I'm going to talk a little bit more about as well. And yeah, so Mr. Clado, you've been here before, so this is repeat for you. So, but as I said, it's always good to repeat good material, right? All right, so should we just get started? Today's workshop and webinar is going to be about Instagram metrics specifically, and how metrics can help you both evaluate your content and your success, but also help you plan your content. And I'm going to show you how you can actually make money through Instagram. And now also, and they just launched their Instagram monetization with their IGTV, which actually makes it possible to make money on the platform now as well. So even more important to create some good content. So today we're going to talk about some content. All right, so let's get started. Okay. So welcome to my workshop it's about Instagram metrics. It's about, let's share my screen first and foremost so you can see it. There you go. Do y'all see my screen? Yes, let's hope so. You see my screen? Yes. All right, so welcome to the Instagram Metrics workshop for musicians. And today you're going to learn how to create the right content that will build your fan base and actually interact with them. So today's goal, I'm going to give you a clear roadmap of how to create content for Instagram that will actually engage and grow your fan base, as well as convert your fans over to paying fans. Because you're essentially here to create a business around your music. So you need to translate the visibility that you're getting now. And if you're going live more and using your channels more to engage with your audience now because of the corona, is also the perfect time to convert them over to paying fans. So who is this training for? Musicians of all genres, basically. But you understand that you have to make the investment over to creating more content. You need to make more videos here. And you're in it to build a fan base and community around your music. And essentially, you want to create a business around your music, right? So some problems you're faced with right now. You're probably struggling with creating content for your channels. Every week you start, what do I have to create? What do I have to post? And then you spend, every time you have to post on Instagram, maybe you're spending 1 hour thinking about what you should post, and then maybe 1 hour creating the post, and then 1 hour actually commenting and engaging with the activity that you got afterwards. So it's essentially 3 hours that you spend on one post, and it's not optimizing your time. And you feel that you're not getting the visibility your music deserves. And you have no structure in your channels, in your content, and your activity. Or you may feel that you're getting some results on Instagram, but you cannot convert this over to dollars. So in the next 45 minutes, I'm going to teach you, first of all, how to structure your content creation. 2, what are the key metrics to actually evaluate your content? How do you know if your content did well or not? And how Instagram can help you make money as a musician. And I have a few bonuses for staying to the end. So, Mr. Clatter, you already have this, but I'm going to do a live Q&A session where you can ask me questions. There's probably tons of things that you're wondering about Instagram. I'm here. I know a lot. Ask me. Put me on the spot. And I also want to do maybe some examples. So if you want to put your Instagram handle in the comment section, go do that. And I can just review some of your profile and give you some feedback and maybe some suggestions. And we can maybe take a look at your content as well today. And you're going to get a checklist from me for everything that you need to do on a daily basis, weekly basis, and monthly as a musician on your Instagram. And of course, this can translate into the other channels as well. And I'm going to give you a content calendar template, which is the same template that I'm using and that I've deployed into many other musicians. So it's ready for you to just insert your own content. Great. Do we have any questions so far? No. Hey, Stevo's TV. I don't know how to pronounce that. I'm horrible in pronouncing names, brands, whatever. All right, so you guys see my screen? Everything okay? Great, I'm going to continue. So a little bit about who am I? Well, I'm not from the music industry, actually. I'm a tech entrepreneur. So I've co-founded 5 tech companies previously. And through that, I've gained some experience. So I then moved on to become a business coach, where I've coached over 250 companies and personal brands through an accelerator program. And these accelerator programs were 3 months long. So I was following them as a mentor in helping both companies, personal brands, and musicians launch their business, their brand. And I did it online. That was my expertise. And I've also been a consultant for over 30 companies where I've specifically helped them how to monetize content. How can they start making money of content? I've also built communities where I built something called Startup Day in Norway. It's in Oslo. It's an initiative from the government where it's all the governmental events that's happening in Oslo for the startup scene. And I've built a community around one of my companies that I started, which was House of Nerds, which is a gaming company. So for your gamers out there, but that was, those two is also a good, like a huge inspiration, both from the tech startup scene and the gaming scene in my content for musicians as well, for those who's followed me for quite some time. So, and that's also how I got introduced into the music industry, through creating events at arenas like South by Southwest and Bylarm, where I could then create educational events for musicians. And then I could, infuse that with the tech and marketing scene as well. So for the last 4 years, I've been a digital nomad where I travel the world, and I've moved all my work online. And I've lived from Bali and in Mexico, and now I live in Ibiza, which is a great scene for music. So these are some of my channels. The reason I'm actually doing YouTube webinars is because I'm just launching my YouTube channel where I'm doing these mini lessons every week. So go ahead, subscribe if you like what you see today. If you want to see similar, mini lessons on a weekly basis that are marketing and business related for musicians, subscribe to my channel. All right, so why music for me? Well, for me, even though I'm not a musician, music has always been a passion, because music is the universal language capable of awakening emotion and essentially, for me, driving social change as well. It's interesting. One of the comments that I got from the ads promoting this webinar was, there's nobody has time for this now. We have to focus on, the employers that actually matters, that actually help during Corona. But for me, music is an important part here, because it brings people together as well. And it's a form of communication, and it's a form of also being sane in these crazy times. So my passion is in music, and it's specifically where, music meets marketing, meets tech. And that's also why I, in the last few years, worked as a consultant in different music tech startups. I've done events at music tech conferences, and I've done coaching with tons of musicians. Because musicians, for me, what I see are much like entrepreneurs, where they have to learn all sides of the business while they're making the music, creating the product. So through this experience, I've actually created a system, because I've deployed my methodology and my system in so many arenas, everything from companies, brands, musicians. So I've created a plug-and-play marketing system for musicians. So it's a system that basically builds your fan base, and it engages with them regularly, but it's also a structure that converts traffic over to dollars, from Instagram over to dollar and music streams. So this is where, sorry, I need to give my phone to my son because I need to bribe him. Go in the room. Yeah. So, sorry. The struggles of being in quarantine. So this is basically our music marketing department ready to be plugged in. So this is a few of my musicians that I've worked with. Jaden Boyson, Rebecca put my mindset in the right direction. The video course is amazing. Rebecca tells exactly what to do to engage with your fans and build up your brand. You'll see that today. I'm going to tell you exactly what to do. After today's sessions, you will be ready to deploy what you learned. That is my goal today. And also Hum Pals, Rebecca is filling a gap that the music industry needs. She's properly setting up musicians to do their own work and educate themselves in how they can further their audience. They will be more successful, as well as learning the business. Let's get started. Are we still here? Yay, and we're more people. All right, so as I said in the beginning, if you're able to comment in the comment section, if not, log into your, through your Gmail into your YouTube, and then tell me where you're from, what kind of type of musician you are, and yeah, just so I kind of know who's here. All right, let's get started. Is it okay? My son is, sorry. So 14.6 million songs. That was the number that was uploaded on Spotify last year. So that translates into 40,000 songs per day. That's a lot of noise, guys. I mean, and now even when people are creating more during these times, the market is going to be saturated. It's going to be crowded. And with AI coming into place, tech coming into place, making music and music production is just going to get easier. So how do you stick out in a saturated market? Well, you need to, first of all, be authentic. You need to, second, give value. And the way to do that is through content. And third, you need to actually engage, communicate. And I'm going to show you today how you do that through internet, right? But before we get started on Instagram, I need to teach you about a concept called fan funnels. So why fan funnels? Well, you need to understand why you're on social media, because your social media presence can directly impact your core metrics. So a fan funnel is basically the journey and the experience that you want a typical fan to take as they build trust with you. How do they get to know you, your music, and your brand? And how do they get to develop a deeper connection with your brand and your music? Because it doesn't happen instantly. And that doesn't necessarily only happen by listening to your music all the time. You need also a way to communicate about your music. Your social media channels is your music's personality, right? So the goal of a fan funnel is to get them to the bottom of the funnel, and I'll show you what the funnel looks like in a second, and make a transaction. So, oh, and I forgot, if you have questions, also in the meantime, just put them in the comment and I'll get to them in the end as well, because when I get in my presentation mode, I get so, engaged into it. So yeah. So this is an example of fan funnel. So these are the different steps, and I've broken them down for you. And the first step is the discovery phase. How do people find out about you? And then, so basically this is everything that you might go to live shows, you might go on live on Instagram, you might do different activities to expand your visibility, right? So more people see you and get to know you. These are activities that you need to do on a weekly basis. So the goal here is to get them to become a casual fan. That means you want them to listen to your music and follow your channels. So what's interesting now is that you're getting people are getting so obsessed into, getting so many followers. They're focusing on the discovery and converting them over to casual fans. But what people are actually missing out on is that they have nothing to offer them afterwards. They don't use their channels. They don't provide any content, and they don't communicate with their fans. So even though you're getting new fans and followers, you're not engaging with them. So what's happening then is that they're stopping in this funnel. You're not pushing them down to where you want to push them, which is the transaction. So the third step is where the transaction happens. So these are the different steps that they need to go through to get to know your brand, right? So when they become a buyer, they, of course, still hang out as a fan because they hang out in your rooms that you've created to communicate with them. But when you see that some of your fans are making transactions on a more regular basis, you've gotten something called super fans. So that is to retain. That's the last step where you actually retain your customers and get them to buy from you repeatedly. So this is kind of your journey that you need to go through, and that also how to create a business and how to attach your products to your audience, right? So you need to also attach metrics, because this is about metrics, right? So you need to, activities needs to be attached to metrics. So each one of the steps should also have different things that you have to measure. So for example, on the attract stage, on the first step, what have you accomplished this week? Have you done any events? How many? Measure that, right? How much reach did you get? Did you go on live? What was the results that you got out of the activities that you were doing to get more visibility? The next steps are the metrics to follow. So of course, streams, follow, the engagement that you get. And another smart metric here is also emails, because you can also use email as a way to communicate with your followers as well. And if you want to move them over to the buying, stage, email is also a smart way, because you can actually communicate personally as well. And text messages, which a lot of musicians are using now these days. So the next step is the metrics are concert tickets, how many album purchase, merch. But then the last step, which most musicians miss out on completely, is actually to also measure superfans and create products for superfans. So this could be subscription and membership, right? And I'll show you an example. So this is deadmau5's funnel. So these are the activities that he does to get more visibility, to attract more people. He uses social media. He really understands his audience, by the way, because he's so active on Twitch, which is, a big part of his audience, gaming. And he also uses Reddit, which is also a big part of his audience. A lot of producers are there, gamers are there, but they're communicating in a different way. So he just understands where his audience are already hanging out, and he creates his rooms, where they're hanging out. So he uses social media. He uses Twitch. He streams a lot, which is also a big part of his revenue stream. And he uses live shows. So these are ways that you can get to know him. This is how he captures people. But then he uses his rooms to engage with them. He provides content. He has an email list. He uses Instagram, Twitch, he uses YouTube to consistently communicate with his fans. Because if you get, as I tell people, if you get 10,000 followers on your account today, you're not going to know how to actually convert them into to fans. Just because they're a follower on your Instagram doesn't mean they're a fan. And an account with 5,000 followers can be far more valuable than an account of 500,000 followers if their audience and their fans are engaged. So these are his rooms where he engages with his audience. But then he also has products. So he has a goal with this engagement. He has a goal where he wants to move his traffic also to selling products, where he has live shows. Well, not now, but if it was normal circumstances. He has, merch. He has gaming merch. He has an online course that he does. But what's also interesting, deadmau5 is a great example. He's such an innovative artist, and he knows how to create a business online, because he's also created a product for his superfans, and he's created a membership product. And if you know anything about online business, if you can move over to a subscription-based model, that's a win. Because let's say here, you can pay $5 to get access to exclusive content that he's already doing anyways, but he's just making it exclusive. And it's also exclusive, way to communicate with him for $5 a month. You don't need that many per month for it to be a good sustainable income. So this is his funnel and his goal with his, with his activities, right? So what is Instagram? So we talked about fan funnels. You now understand, the goal of all of this, by going live now, by utilizing all of the streaming and that everyone is doing now, there needs to be an end goal with this. You need to move your traffic somewhere. And Instagram can be a really great tool for that. In actually all of these phases, because you can use Instagram to go live, to meet new people, to network. You could do things every week to attract new people to your room, right? But then when you get into your room, you can also use Instagram as a way to share content, share your process, communicate with them. If somebody visits your profile, your room, they see what they say and they hit subscribe, they opt in, they want to hear from you on a regular basis. So right now, if you don't use your channels, you're not kind of giving what they're expecting. So Instagram can also be used to sell your product. So let's go into Instagram here. Are we following, people? Yep. Uh-oh. Can't get on? Got it? We're back on? Great. Ah, we're more people as well. As I told everyone, put in your username, your handle on Instagram as well in the comment section, because I want to do some reviews of some profiles at the end of the stream. And I want to, then you can all kind of see the review, and everyone learns from it as well. And I can give some feedback and how I would do things, and maybe we can think some creatively around it as well. So put your username in the comments section. All right. So first, you need to make a plan, because success doesn't come from what you do occasionally. It comes from what you do consistently. So when you start your week as a musician on Instagram, I want you to ask yourself 3 questions. Question number 1, what are you going to do to attract new followers, grow your fan base? And think about things you can do every week, not just a one-time thing. Think about this is your workout routine almost. This is what you can do, every Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday. You're doing these types of activities. You might go live. You might go through hashtags and use the Gary V $1.80 method. Just Google it. He has a really good description tutorial how to do it, and it works. I also made a video on my channel. I can share it with you if you're interested, of a tutorial of exactly how it works. It works. You get more followers, or you can pay for it, but you need to do some activities to grow your following, and you need to do something every week. If you don't do anything, it's not going to grow. It doesn't grow. I mean, Instagram is killing their organic reach. They are. So if you don't spend in the activity, if you don't do work, you're not going to get results. And then the next question, how will you engage with your current fan base? And the answer to that is through content and actual engagement. And also third question you need to ask yourself, how will you convert your fan base over to dollars? Through content and engagement. So these are the questions. You see how they're related to the funnel, right? So this brings me into something called content marketing. So there's a rule of thumb when it comes to content marketing. It's just creating videos and pictures and communicating through that. It's nothing more advanced than that. That's what it is. It's just communicating through content. So it's creating a video and communicating through that. So there's a rule of thumb here when it comes to that form of communicating. And that is that 80% of all the content that you're creating, it needs to be educational, informative, inspirational, and it needs to be personal. You cannot sell, because you're only allowed to sell 20% of your content. And this is where every one of the musicians are focusing on the 20%. Me, listen to my song. Listen, I just dropped my album. Go to my Spotify. Do this, my music video. That should be only 20% of your content. 80% needs to share the process, get to know you as a musician, your other identities as well. Maybe, as a Deadmau5 example, he's a gamer, he's a DJ, he's, many other areas to him that's interesting that he's also showing. And you could be educational, you could be informative. There's so much content that you can create here, because the 20% is not going to work if you don't have the 80%. If you have the 80% there, the 20% that drives sales will work. But what everyone has now is a 20%, and it's uninspiring. It's just spam. Everyone is doing it. It's just stop it. So the days of listen to my song, it's over. You now need to, first of all, give them a reason, but in the 20% where you're allowed to tell them to go listen to your song, because when it's time to promote, you also actually have to be very specific. You need to tell them to go listen to the song. But that post and video is not going to work if you don't have the 80% going. If you don't have that in the background, if they haven't seen 2 or 3 posts to get to know you before. Remember the funnel here, right? So you need to consistently have content. 80% of your content has to be about just getting to know you, your process, your brand, your music. So let's help you structure your week. And then I'm going to give you some examples and some inspiration, because you're probably thinking, what kind of content am I going to create? Because I have no idea what to create. And maybe you're in the studio all day long and it's like, it's not inspiring and it's nothing, nothing new what I do every day. Why are people interested in that, right? So, but before we go there, we need to determine a content frequency. So these are the avenues that you can communicate through Instagram. So you have the feed, you have the story, you can go live, and you can use the IGTV. So before every week, or you should basically determine now how much you want to do on the feed, on the story per day, live, and IGTV. And the best content creators, they're doing 2 to 3 posts per day. And that's overwhelming, I know. But I want you to ramp up your feed and use it as microblogging. It's a way to just communicate. Those posts just disappear anyways in a few days. So you can communicate many things. And even though if you have, let's say you have 5,000 followers, if you post something, only a bare minimum of your followers actually see that post. So to make sure that more of your followers see more of your content, you need to post more frequently as well. So don't think just because you have one post on Instagram and you post that day, all of your followers are going to see that. No, just, percentage. Instagram is just giving you a small percentage all the time. And the more frequently you use these avenues, the more visibility you're going to get. So determine how often you want to publish on the feed. I would recommend doing something every day here, but some of that could be IGTV. IGTV are more of the longer videos. So those are 1 minute and above. And they just started monetizing the IGTV as well. So this is like they're going against YouTube and they're doing the same payout as YouTube as well. Or you can use live. Do you use it once a week, twice a week? What do you use it for? And also the story. So the story, it's hard to plan, right? So the story, you just need to determine how many times per day that you want to update. So the rule of thumb here is that you want to maybe have an update in the morning, midday, afternoon, and evening, because then you're constantly relevant on the real estate bar of the stories, because you've updated very recently. So it doesn't have to be a lot of updates. Just try to distribute it throughout the day. So how much content per week? Question number 1, right? 2, what are you going to make? The constant struggle, right? So I've split this up into 80-20 here as well, where 20 is you finished a project, but let's focus on the 80% now. So the questions to ask yourself then, what are you working on now? What are you in the process of? Do you have a story behind something? Are you collaborating with someone? Making music is almost like working out sometimes, right? It's the continuously, you go into the studio every day and you're working on something. Many musicians out, they say they're practicing, So the goal of this content is not to tell them to listen to a song or to make them to make any action other than maybe just engage with that content, because the goal is here to engage and build a fan base. The next thing you need to show is also your identities. So this is personal content. This is the goal here, is to engage and also build a fan base. But this is where you show yourself from also maybe a non-musical side, because your fans, and the more specific you get with who you are and the value that you get as a musician, you're going to start connecting with some people, because they're, as deadmau5, he has gamers, he has DJs, he has music producers. And, so he can go into all of these different avenues that are just part of his identity, and also engage with his fans on different ways. So try to also create some personal content around the non-musical side of you as well, because people are interested in it. And then let's talk about the 20%. So if you've done some content with what you're working on, sharing the process, your expertise as a musician, and you've shared your identity, you're allowed to sell. And the goal of that type of content is to convert, where you need to have a call to action. You need to tell them what to do. And you need to tell them where to go, where you're taking them, and the value that they're going to see on the next step, right? So this could be, a performance, a music video. You could share on the content itself. I'll show you some examples of how the 20% looks like, because it doesn't have to be a sales you can share a video of yourself, but the goal with the caption and the post itself is to get them to do an action. You see, it's different goals on the 80% versus 20%. And when you become more clear of where you want to drive your activity and what you want out of it, you become more clear on also the results that you're getting. So when you do the 20%, when you have the 80% in place, you're going to see how they are going to start converting. So what type of format here, right? First of all, you need to now move over from picture to video. One or two, at least one of your content pieces per week should be video. And I'm not talking about the story. I'm talking about using IGTV or your feed to communicate a video. And preferably, this shouldn't be a sales video. It should be sharing the process. Practicing. This is you as a musician, your expertise. So what you do here to get inspired is that you need to browse other similar musicians and find what formats you like. And you need to then start thinking about what content can you create on a consistently basis, on a weekly basis. Don't think just one time off. Think about something you can do and share, like almost like microblogging through video, but you're just sharing you from a musical side, from you as the musician, you, the process, the expertise. And a lot of people say that, let's say you're a producer, I'm in the studio, there's nothing new around me. Well, it's not interesting in where you're sitting and the equipment around you, whatever. It's not interesting necessarily. What's interesting, if you can share a decision that you made with your music, or the inspiration behind, or something specific that shows you the expertise, the musician, and also the process and how you create, you're going to engage on a different level. So here are a few examples. Trizzy Track, I use there. He's a great example of a producer to follow out there because his content is not high quality. It's just his phone that he puts in front of him and he just goes at it. And he says he's practicing. So every week we're just tapping into his practice. And, he can do mistakes, he can just do, but he's just having fun. And he has people over, they practice together, and, they do these just different challenges together. I mean, there's so much you can do if you have a format to be creative in, right? So if you know you're going to do this the next few weeks and test out, maybe I can try it with a person 1 week, and then I can, because start experimenting. Or you can do like in the middle here, and you can create this, nice atmosphere around you, and you can, then create your art and your music, in peace, and just like we can be a fly on the wall and see the magic happen. Or you can take the studio or equipment out on the road if that's your thing. These are just a few examples. You can use your equipment as, art, or you can, as DJ Snake did with the coronavirus that went so, viral. He showed how he made that song out of that noise. A lot of musicians are doing that where they show the, actually behind the scenes in the program. So you don't have to even show yourself. Or you can create, like when Eats Everything and Fatboy Slim did just launched a song together. And this is another thing. If you're actually collaborating with someone with the song, can you start collaborating with content to promote the song as well? Because that day is going to come when that song is finished and you actually have to communicate it. And if you're both on the same page, you're like, all right, let's think creatively of some video content that we can make to promote this work as well, because we're putting so much time into creating it. We might as well also put in some time so people become interested in it, right? So they created these like carpool DJs videos that are just hilarious, where you see, them personality, but they're promoting their song, right? And if live shows and gigging is a huge part of your business, you need to show that, and it needs to be consistently. And more importantly, you don't necessarily need a lot of equipment here. There's tons of affordable editing tools, and you just need to translate and communicate the energy that's in your shows. It could be intimate, it could be, and it's all about the energy. So if gigging is a huge part of your work as a musician, you need to translate that part into your channels as well, because you want them to come to your offline event. So you need to use your channels as a reason to get them there. So today, I'm going to give you a content calendar template that is your week. And it's what I'm using. It's also what I've deployed into musicians, tons of musicians. You can just replace this with your own content, download it, and then use it. And this is the structure. And what I would do, I would plan my week in advance. And then I would actually go into Creator Studio, which is a part of Instagram and Facebook. And you can pre-publish all of your content for that week. So let's say you work on all your content on a Sunday and you do it for the whole week. You can just publish it, pre-publish it through a Creator Studio, and you're done with it. So every time you go on Instagram, you just engage. You just reply to comments. You just go there and talk with people. And then you kind of separate that activity to the creation activity as well. So, need some water. Are we following? It's valuable. We're still here. Yay. Great. I'm glad that we're still. It's valuable. I'm going to continue. It's so, sometimes these online things can be so not interactive as well, because they're, I'm so used to also having people to, get feedback from right away. All right. So the next step is we've now published, we've now created a plan, we have some content, you published it, now what? Because the first content that you do, what you do in the beginning is not going to be your right recipe. You need to test here, right? So in order to find the right recipe, you need to analyze your content, because the success is in the metrics. So why analyze per content piece? So this is interesting because this is where your fans' interest connects with yours. So when you share something, you've done it because you feel it's interesting, right? So you need to analyze that piece of content to see, all right, did the people that were following me, did they actually feel that it was interesting? So you need to learn so you can do more of what works and essentially find the right recipe, because that's going to take some time to find. So you need to analyze per content piece. So first of all, did it trigger engagement? You need to ask yourself, and I'll show you a few examples of how to actually evaluate this. But these are the 3 questions that you need to ask yourself before you start evaluating. You need to find out your engagement. How do people actually communicate with it? You need to find out if it actually grew your fan base. And you need to find out, did it convert? So these are the metrics that you need to be on top of. If you want to check if your content triggered engagement, you need to check your likes, comment, share, save, and profile visits. And by the way, if you haven't moved over to a business account or a creator account, do that ASAP, because if you don't have that type of account, you don't have access to any of these metrics. And these are very valuable, and you need these types of metrics to understand and to be able to find the right recipe. So you need to then, so did it trigger engagement? Like, comment, share, save, profile visits. Profile visits is an important one. It's a silent one. You don't see that because there's no comments or like. But profile visits, it's an important one, because if they saw your content and visited your profile and saw more of your content, that's almost more valuable than a comment sometimes, because they maybe went over to your bio link when they visited your profile, even to your other world. How many actions is that? Because essentially, the more actions they make with you and in your room, the more interested they are, right? And then you need to ask yourself, did it grow my fan base? That's simple, follow. But you can see if a picture that you shared grew your fan base in your metrics. So I'll show you where to look for that. And you need to ask yourself, did it trigger conversion? And the metric to look for is website clicks. So let's look at some engaging content. So when you go into each picture, you can go into the insight and you can then see all of this content. So this is what some engaging content looks like, where you have a lot of likes, you have a lot of comments, shares, bookmarked, profile visits, but you see, you don't have a lot of website clicks because the goal of this type of content was solely to engage. Remember 80-20, right? So the 80% did quite well because people engaged with it. People commented, people started, talking with me, communicating with me. They visited my profile. And this is a tough one. And then you can also see if it built your fan base. And that looks very similar as an engagement as well. Most likely, if you have a very engaging post, it also builds your fan base. So you see a lot of likes, comments, shared, bookmarked. And then that means that a new person saw this picture or video, liked what they saw, went into your profile, and they opted in. You just grew your fan base. Even though it's 2 at a time, if you have 2 pictures per day, 3 pictures per day, or whatever, and if you have good content, you can build your fan base also quite quickly through your content as well as the activities that you're doing. Remember in the beginning, activities as well, right? But if your content can eventually start just building your content, you're in a good place. Sorry, building your fan base. And then you need to look for converting content. And right now, because you probably weren't really understanding when you are selling and when you are engaging with your content because you don't have any structure, it will be interesting for you to go back to actually see what type of content resulted in people clicking on your website. Because that's a difficult task to get them to do. So if you share a video and you see here the website clicks, this is, when you see a lot of profile visits and then some move over to your website click, it's because in the caption field, I've told them to go there. And the whole goal of this post was to tell them to go there. So this is the difference. You see here, this is a successful post to the left. I have 15 people went over to my website by seeing this video. But it didn't get necessarily as many likes and comments as the other one. So by just looking at it, you would think that that wasn't a successful post. So you're just blinded by the likes and the follows. But it could be a successful post because you could actually trigger tons of action if they went over to your website just by seeing that content. So you need to then learn. And you need to learn what type of content that you've already done, because you might have already some activities in your channel. And what you do in your insight on your Instagram, you can go into content, you can view all the content in the last year and 2, and you can then filter it you can see how they did by engagement, by website clicks, and everything. If you have problems with this, let me know. I have a tutorial, of course. And then you see, what type of content actually drove engagement the last year? And the first one that comes up is the successful one. And the same goes for website clicks and also follows. So that then you get an idea of what type of content that you can make more of. So and I'll show you an example of how I do it. So this is one of my first more successful posts. I'm not even in it. And what it's showing is Gary Vee talking with Logic. And they're talking about how producers can network and use social media to, get more visibility and through actually networking with other producers. So what is this telling me? Maybe a lot of my followers are producers. Maybe they are in the same genre Logic is in, maybe, some of them at least. And then, of course, they're interested in learning more about using social media to network with other musicians, with other people in the industry. I should create a blog post about it. I should create a video of me talking about that. I should give tips about that. That gives me tons of ideas of what other content to create. I'm sure if you see your content, be like, whoa, that video did really well. I wonder why. I can create that, and try to analyze it and learn from it. So how will Instagram make you money, right? That's the question. And that's what I told you that I'm going to show you. And remember what I said, it's through content and engagement. And the rule of thumb is still 80-20. So when you have the 80% in place, you're allowed to sell. And the 20% works. And because you've already built trust, loyalty, you've talked with them, you communicated them, gotten to know you, they share your process, they are just falling more in love with you as a musician, basically. And then when you do sell, you create some really cool content, and I'll show you how that looks. But remember 80-20. So this is what 20% looks like on Instagram. So this is Fisher, and this is his funnel basically. So when he's ready to sell on Instagram, he's going to promote a product. He creates then some content. One is a video of him performing the song, where the goal in the caption is to get them to click on the bio link. So he promote the value that he has in the bio link through giving some value, right? So he shares the artwork as well, and at a different time. But the goal here is to get them to click the bio. So make sure, the step that they have to go through here is then, they see the content, they have to click on their profile, and then they have to click on your bio link. So make sure that you're also, your bio guides them in that direction, because the internet, you really need to be specific on where you want to take them. That's how the internet works. And if you are, you're going to see that this flow just goes so seamless, because you're just telling them always the next step. So in the bio, as you see, Fisher is just, hands down, click here. And then make sure that, so what the next step is that he takes them to a landing page with more value, that then takes them to the sales page. So this is, where's Instagram in place here? It's the first point where it's communicating the value through sharing value with the goal of driving that traffic over to the sales page and get them to make a transaction. Another example, Trizzy Track, this is how he sells through Instagram, where he also promotes the value that he has in the bio link through giving value. So he created a video of him, creating, but then when he was using the caption field to promote what he has in the bio link. So the goal then is to get them to the bio link. So he's using something called Linktree, because he is creating content on many platforms. So he's creating content on, as many musicians, SoundCloud, Spotify, but he's also partnering with others to create content. So, for him, he needs to send them many places. So Linktree is a good option for that, and it's free as well. So so when you do promote the 20%, you need to also make sure that you're sending them in the bio. This is the step-by-step. You need to envision the travel they have to take almost. So make sure that the promotion is on the top on the Linktree as well. So it's, the first thing that they see. And then he takes them to an offer that you get for free, because he wants to communicate with them through email. So he gives them something, an incentive to get their email, because he wants to then send more value in an email format and use email to communicate, where he then sends an offer, which is the sales page. And that's how he uses Instagram to sell, because Instagram is the first step. That's where he communicates. That's one of his rooms. So when he promotes that, the traffic that is already established through the 80% is, will then flow, because he's built trust. So Instagram is the first point. Right. So you have 3 options now. So you can do this yourself. You can test and learn by doing, and this is going to take time. Or you can follow. I'm setting up a 5-week program where you can learn and implement. It's a spelling mistake. Follow a 5-week program where you can learn and implement. I've already created a structure here with specific strategies. Or you can hire outside consultants. So you have 3 options. And I'm an outside consultant. It's expensive. So I want to share with you what I've created. So I'm introducing the Instagram Music Marketing Masterclass. So why have I created it? So I want to give musicians the tools and the resources so they can start and grow their own business around their music. And for me, that starts with connecting your music to a listener. So this is not a program of how to get 10,000 followers. It's an actual program of how to convert your followers over to business, how to create a business, and how Instagram can feed your business. And of course, you're going to get 10,000 followers in the process. But more importantly, creating a business around your music. So I've created a structure that gives you content strategies that will increase the frequency and value. It will give you strategies and growth hacks. Remember, I'm a programmer. I love hacking things. I love also course, you need to follow, the right, but also when you have everything in place, let's start hacking. Let's start getting more visibility, But when you get that visibility, you have content to welcome them and, convert them over. So it's a structure that will turn visibility into dollars. So this is basically a creative proven structure. It's your music marketing department ready to be plugged in, basically. And what I'm doing now is I'm actually setting up a 5-week program, and it's starting April 22nd, because I've created an online course, right? But this is a structure, and it needs to be put in place, and that needs to be done over time. So I want to make sure that it is put in place in time, and we need some time to do that. So I'll be doing some weekly classes where I go further in depth every week into different parts that you need to learn more about. I'll also review student examples, and I'll do a live Q&A. So every week we'll have different classrooms that you have the option of attending. But you'll also get your 4-hour video course. So this is going to be your textbook. So this is what we're going to discuss in the weekly sessions. And you're going to get tools and resources, which is going to help you create content and also help you measure it. So the next start date for this is April 22nd, and I'm opening enrollment. And a little bit about the 4-hour video training, and then we're going to go over to the Q&A, or a little bit about the elements that you get, the resources, the textbooks, basically. And then we're going to go over to the Q&A, and then I want to do some Instagram reviews. So this is the 4-hour video training that I've created. So it's 4 hours with me, where I will take you through all the elements that you need to be on top of, and then help you structure your plan, your day, your week, and your month. And it's also going to show you how to use your metrics to improve. And through this 5-week period, I'm going to help you implement this properly in your channels. So each chapter is going to give you different strategies and hacks that you can use right away. And you're going to be almost marketing experts after these 4 hours. So these are some of the chapters. I will go through how to set up the perfect profile with the perfect bio and how to use the bio links properly. Chapter 2, how to actually create content. We'll go through tons of different strategies, and we'll also, determine actually your content week. We'll take some examples like, all right, let's create a week for one of the students, and then we'll go in and I'll show you how to do that. Engage, I'll show you how to engage, different activities that you need to do to engage with your current fan base, but also grow it, right? And then I'll show you how to distribute content, but also music on Instagram. And then I'll show you my favorite chapters, how to plan, how to also measure the metrics, how to know if you're doing well or not. And not more importantly, how to run ads. So this is when you have everything else in place, you can also then start paying for some visibility. If you welcome them with content and stuff, right? But if your profile is nothing, you're not using it, and you're using ad, it's a waste of money. I'll also give you a content size toolbox. It's an updated overview of all the sizes you need to be on top of. Like, for example, if you post on IGTV, how do you need to structure that content in order so it looks perfect on your feed if you're going to do a preview, for example. You're going to get this today, the content calendar template. So it's a ready-to-use template of how a week of content looks like. You're getting that anyways. I've also created, and it's updating every week with a music-specific hashtag bank with all relevant hashtags that are music industry related. And you also see the visibility, because the perfect combination of hashtag is some large, some small, specific, and niche. So you can just basically copy and paste some large, some small, because you see the visibility there. You get this today, the daily, weekly, monthly to-do list, everything that you need to be on top of. And my masterpiece, I created a metrics template and a plan, and basically all the numbers that you need to be on top of per week. So yes, you need to analyze per content and how your daily is doing, but more importantly, there's some metrics that you need to be on top of per week to really understand how your channel is doing, and which you can't see from just seeing your content. You need to measure it over time. So I created a spreadsheet that you just have to plot in the right numbers, and it's doing the calculations and everything. I love it. So hear it from a few of my students. This course translated excellently on my phone. What was most interesting about the course was the analytics section. When she started speaking about it, I thought, oh my God, I have the key. Thanks, Martin Buchanan. And this is DJ Blackbird. I thought I kind of knew what I was doing on Instagram before I took the course, but boy, was I wrong. Rebecca helped me understand structure, content, and quality. So the next start date is April 22nd for everyone's interest. For if you're interested. It's a 5-week program. This is the item. This is what I'm selling it for now, but I have a special deal for you guys. Since I'm opening enrollment today and I'm going to enroll now for the next 2 weeks, I'm rewarding the 10 first people. So, but this is what I'm selling it for, and this is what you get. It's the weekly online course that you get for 5 weeks. Basically, that we meet. It's classes, live sessions. It will be on Wednesdays. And it's a 4-hour video course you get. You get the content account, all of the items. I'm not going to go over it again. This is what I'm selling it for. It's basically your music marketing department ready to be plugged in. And I'll make sure it's being plugged in those 5 weeks. That's why I'm doing the 5 weeks, because I need to make sure that it's being plugged in. So I'm doing a special today for $197, where the first limited 10 people enroll. And it's starting April 22nd. And the discount code for this, I'll drop the link in the comment. And the discount code is webinar. All right. And not only that, you get 30 days money back. If you don't see any value in my content, I'll be happy to give you your money back because I'm that confident in my content. Questions? That was, wow, everyone's still here. Good. Questions? Was it valuable? Let's move back to here. Yes, I am almost sweating now. Should we go over some profiles? Let's go over the chat here because I haven't seen this. Let's see. We have people from London. Do we have any? Yes, we have Steve. Oh, is this official? I'm going to put your Instagram. I want to review your Instagram now. Instagram, I have to find you. Let's see. Steve-O SS official. There we go. Okay. All right, and then I'm going to share my screen with you. Stop sharing the other screen. Start sharing this screen. Let's see. Application window. Let's do Chrome tab, and then do Instagram. Do you guys see this now? I have to. Yes, great. All right, Stevos. Did I say that right? Stevos. So you are DJ, music producer, presenter, director. You're the CEO of Voss Art Media, projector leader, LMH. Yeah, good. Operations thing, great. So before we go into some of your content, this is what I like to, okay, so many people present themselves. It's good to present who you are right away, but there's so many that present themselves as DJ, music producer, and it's so general. And I'm pretty sure that if I would have a conversation with you, I would say, find many unique things about you. And I would then say, why are you not communicating those? Because you need to find, more importantly, when you're going to start using these channels now, don't try to communicate to everyone. Try to find your first followers, your first customers. And those are the ones that are interested in, you specifically. So the more specific you are with your bio, it could be niche, it could be genre related, the better, you can then start connecting with you. And I would also bring your value of what you are doing with your work, with your, music, with the energy that you bring to your show, with your DJ. What is that? I would try to communicate that because that's your value. And that's, if you can, through your bio, first spark an emotional connection, you then can get them to make an action, which is below, which is the bio link. So you should insert a bio link, which is, to your other channels, your core channels. If you're a music producer, do you use SoundCloud, Spotify? Where do you work? Or maybe you're on YouTube. So it's a perfect opportunity to send them there. But right now you're not sending them there because you don't have a bio link. So the last part of the bio should then be used to kind of send them there. What's great is that you've tied your bio to other accounts, which is very smart sometimes if you're part of a collective like what you're doing now, and you're very specific of your role as well, which I like, because then, you know, this is your role and this is where, you know, you're working. So that's a smart way, because then you can move traffic, you know, over to there as well, which, and since that's a part of your other brands, you want to kind of move. If you're doing well here with your content, you might as well also do well on the other accounts as well. And then suddenly your traffic are flowing through the different accounts. So it's good. So let's see your content. You're doing some video. This is IGTV. Great. I mean, I'm not going to read. I mean, I can see it here quickly. Yeah. Great. This is great. You're in the studio. See, it's not. Yeah, it's not playing here. Yeah. You created. This is great. You created a specific video. Are you doing this? Oh, see, now I get detail. Are you doing this video type for IGTV, or are you doing it for other channels as well? This is good. The more video, the better. And the longer video, it's good to be on IGTV. You should do more of that. Let's think of something we can do on a more consistently basis. I see you're using video a lot to communicate. I would structure your content where you use, if you're familiar, if you're already starting to use video, I would ramp up your video production, like video content a lot more. If you're just creating videos like this, we could have some fun. Any else? Let's see. The red paintings. Let's see, the red paintings. Red. See, it won't let me paintings. It won't let me copy and paste from this chat, which is very. Oh, I'll follow you. I'll follow you as well. Sorry. Oh, I'm following you. Great. All right. So the red paintings banned. You're still seeing me, right? Yeah. Yeah. Great. The red paintings banned. Musician banned. Is this? Oh, so you're sent. I'm curiosity. Huh. Not sure what you've done here, but oh, so that's the category. Maybe, I don't know. Yeah, that's confusing. I would use that first, real estate, to present your identity. Touring orchestral art rock collective. Great presentation. It's also telling who you are, very specific. It's also gives an idea of the content to expect on your profile as well. I would just remove and put that as a category. And when you do your account, you can actually choose musician there as well. So touring, I would keep this. This is a great way. Listen on Spotify. You don't have to give traffic to Spotify, but pre-order on, yeah. So you're doing a lot of call to action here at the end. I would then, you have your website. The website, so online, to actually send someone to your website is quite overwhelming, and they don't necessarily, you need to tell them where to go. That's why these link trees, and when it comes to Instagram, like, you need to be very specific on the next step. So I would rather set up a link tree with you and think of different ways to, spread your traffic differently that way, because they can get lost if you send them to your website, and most likely you won't capture them because, they're just looking at your website and then they're exiting. So it's better to be more specific. If you want them to go to Spotify, if you want them to pre-order, you have several call to action. Let's gather that in the link tree instead, and then create like a general or call to action or something that makes them want to click on that as instead. So let's take a look at your content. You're very artistic, which is great. So I see that you like to communicate through artistic images. Great. Great. You have a theme going on here. I can't go too in depth with, but this, I see here that you have a theme through how you're communicating, and you're also using very creative, pictures to communicate already. We would work on how we move that over to video, because video gets way more traction and it's a better way to get to know you as well. And I know it might seem, see, you have a video here. Let's see what that is. This is great. This is great to get, this is what needs to be to get started, right? It's just see your setup, and I see your artistic, your creativity is already there. It's just a sneak preview of what you're doing and your process and everything. So we would set up a plan where how can we do this on a consistent basis and what do we want to communicate with that format, right? All right, let's see. Do we, Mr. Pooley? Mr. Pooley is not here. Sorry. Let's see. All right, let's do a few others. Let's see. The red pen is Sharon Sting. Let's do Sharon Sting. Sting. Let's see. President and CEO, Hyper PR, artist, manager, publicist, theater promotion. Great. I mean, very, very specific on what you are and the value that you present. And what is missing here? Like, because it's your identities, and I like that you're specific. It also brings the authenticity, like your president, CEO, great. It brings the, authority. Your follow back, sorry. Your value, like what makes you unique? Like, why does somebody want to have you as an artist manager? What makes you so good to work with? If you can communicate the feeling, let's say you work with an artist, what is the feeling when they're happy with how that is going? If you can communicate that feeling in one sentence that makes you unique, how you work with with your musicians, how you work with your artists, then you spark an emotional connection. Because yes, you are you're showing who you are, but you need to more importantly show also, like, trigger an emotional connection, because that's going to give them a reason to click below, which is link in bio, which is, what is it? Let's see. My favorite links, sharing is caring. I would optimize this because I don't need to know. Oh, so you're sharing other people's content. Great. I would, we would structure your, I don't know if you see that link because I might not share that screen. Well, so I would optimize your link tree to, see where we want to take your traffic, and let's see your content. Great. You see your inspiration. You're repurposing other content. We would work on your content to move over to video. Yeah, because I don't see you using video at all, but you're using good pictures, you're sharing yourself. So I would find a way to, we would then work on together to find a format of how to do that and how to share your process together. All right. Any more? Should we do one more? All right. Do we have any? Buchanan Billy. Should we do the last one? And then we can do some questions. Buchanan Billy. Let's do that. Buchanan Billy. Am I Billy? Billy Buchanan. Did I just see this? Yeah? No. Similar. Yeah. So, all right. Let's see here. That's the artist manager. Now I get it. Okay. Yeah. So I will be very clear on the different content. I would have different content on each one of them. This is video. Yeah, you're just doing a challenge. This is great. That you also create some content showing yourself as a non-musician. It shares your personality. It's great. Let's look at the other videos. This is good that you're just in front of. You're doing live streaming, which is great. I would then look at a structure. Here, I would look at a structure. If you're already doing a lot of activities through live streaming and you're creating a lot of video, I would find a perfect, way to structure it through all of your channels. So for you, I would look at, all right, are you using YouTube? Which channels are you using? And then how can we repurpose that content well in your Instagram as well? So it drives traffic, it moves from platform to platform. And you're using the different platforms, in a different way. You're using IGTV. You just, I love it. You just in front of the camera and you just have your instrument. It's great. Perfect. Let's do some questions. Let's see. Do we have any questions? Will you post the video? Yes. Oh, you will get some free links. Sorry. Here. And it's also, let's see. These are the freebies that you will get. This is the daily checklist in the comment section now. And there's 2 links that should be working there. If not, I can do each individually. Let me do each individually. Here is one of them. And then here is the other checklist that you get. And then it's linked to, if you want to join the 5 weeks program, we're starting April 22nd. The discount for the first 10 people is webinar. Let's see here. Webinar, discount, webinar. Nope, yeah, webinar. Discount code. Discount code, yeah. Do we have any questions? Let me go out. Let's see. Tells me we're doing a lot of right things. It's great. Say like Shopify. We didn't know it was a link. Right, okay, yeah. Love the webinars, so informative. My Instagram is. Would love to have you look at it. All right, let's take a look at one more. She's asked so nicely. KNDE music. KNDE music. KNDE music. Let's share the screen again. And all right. Let's look at Don't Tell Me to Wake Up. Great. Start with an emotion. This is what I'm talking about. If you can share the value that you're doing already with your music in written format, that's what you do with your bio. So what you're doing here, you're sparking an emotional connection right away when you introduce yourself, because you're also, you're giving also maybe an idea of what type of content to expect on your profile. I would probably also use a little bit more space on your bio to present more. New single, always be a way out now. A good way, if you want them to listen, is to use the emojis to actually tell them where to go. This is online, so you need to be really specific. I see that you're using here the highlights, which are a good way to also think of. This is great. And you look at Martin Garrix, I think, is a good example. Not music-wise, but just how he presents, how he structures. He's so clean on his Instagram profile. So each one of the highlights, have a purpose. So I see that you're using that real estate very wisely, where you then, if they're interested, this is becoming more of a website where, I want to see more about music, more about bonsai, which is another element of you, which is great, which should also be a part of your content. And you could have like a menu bar with more content to choose from. So it's a great way to optimizing the real estate, which is great. You're using Linktree. Great. I'm not going to go into that. I want to see your content. Let's see. This is great. You're using video. This is 2 weeks ago, where you're just. See, great. You're in front of camera. This is like what we would do together is we would structure your content, and we would plan out your content. You're already doing video. You're already comfortable you're musicians, right? You're entertainers. So we just need to find, what's the frequency, how often you want to use Instagram to communicate, and what do you want on a consistently basis. Because by doing one video, you need to almost form your followers. They need to know what to expect. So if you start doing things weekly, they start, opting in. They know what to expect. They like that. So we need to kind of think what we can do consistently is here as well. Great. Any other questions? No. Sorry, I have to go. Or the docs you said it would give us today? Are you emailing them? Hi, it's in the comment section. Do you see them? Hi, PR. It's links in the comment section. Do you guys get access? Can you let me know if you have access to them, if it worked for you guys? Or else I'll send it to you in an email as well. I can send the links there. You will get an email with the replay and everything, so you can see it afterwards as well. Is IG good for marketing Spotify? If so, oh yeah. Spotify, they have an integration also directly with Facebook, and you can set up some cool integration with Instagram and do e-commerce through Instagram. So yes, but 80-20. Doesn't matter if you have your products there. If you integrate with your e-commerce site, if you're not building trust, if you're not building loyalty, if you're not communicating with your followers, you're not going to get any sales. So, but if you're, yes, it's a good, Spotify is great with Instagram and Facebook, and the integrations are getting better and better. Any more questions? Nope. We've gone on for quite a long time, and my son is going to dance class in his online dance class, so I have to go. So thank you guys for joining. It was fun. Great feedback. I love doing this. I'm always nervous before, but then after it's like so much fun, So, and then if you haven't already, subscribe to my YouTube. And remember, the first 10 people get a huge discount on the program. I'm opening the enrollment today. I already have students enrolled, and we're going to have fun. This 5-week program is really going to get your structure on your channels, and more importantly, use this time now to actually start a business, and then so the visibility that you get in your channels can translate into money. Great. Bye. I want the discount. The discount code is webinar. Discount code webinar. So follow the link and use the discount code webinar, and I'll see you on the inside. You get access to the textbooks, the online course right away, so you can start going through the content. I would recommend you going through as much as possible before we start on the 22nd, because I'll go into, you'll be more prepared. So yeah, let's have fun. 5 weeks. Let's get going, guys. All right, bye. I really have to go. Bye, guys.